Sheriff, let me start with you because I just got there was just a communique from the mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu. And again, to the point that you always make, very defiant of the Trump administration saying, quote, again, the New Orleans Police Department will not be a part of President Trump's civil deportation force, no matter how many times they ask. What would you say?
Well, look, these mayors that are defying our federal laws need to be held accountable. This is about public safety for the people of our communities, and they have an obligation to not only uphold those laws, but to make sure that their police departments are working in collaboration with the federal agencies so that we can make sure we can. With all due respect,
sir, I know that, but they continue to defy them, even as the Trump administration cranks up the heat on them, and they've sent these letters. They're saying, listen, essentially, you guys receive millions of dollars from the federal government. We're giving you a chance to get your act together, and they're still being defiant.
Well, and shame on them, because the only people that are going to get hurt are the people in their communities. But, you know, look, these people, as far as I'm concerned, these elected officials who knowingly harbor and conceal anyone that they know to be in the country illegally need to have arrest warrants issued on them, federal arrest warrants. And these people will figure it out real fast that they're no longer going to be able to defy the law without the full consequences that the rest of us would be expected to realize if we did the same thing.
Gina, and I think the sheriff's got a point here. Even though these numbers sound like a lot, just to put it in perspective, New York City could lose $4 million, Chicago $2 million, California, the state could lose over $10 million. But these are large states and large cities with billion-dollar budgets. Maybe they can handle it. Maybe they could take the brunt. If that is indeed the case, then is it time to lock up these people, the sheriffs and even the governors?
You know, maybe, Charles. I really think that, though, what they're not thinking of are some of the unintended consequences of being a so-called sanctuary city. One is that you're teaching people that the rule of law doesn't really matter. So I don't know how then you stand by the rule of law in other ways, right? But another is that the crime is naturally going to come to those cities. If you're a criminal, you're going to go to one of those places because you know that you're less likely to get in trouble for committing your crime, and you're going to probably commit more crime there. There are increased costs to that, Charles. Anybody can figure that out who can do math. And so you would think that these people, if they are really concerned and they really don't like this idea, then fine, then change the law. But lawbreakers are lawbreakers, and they should be prosecuted.
Well, guess what, Gina? They are changing the law, but they're making it even tougher for the Trump administration. Giano, we got a Chicago native in studio. Okay, so here's the city of Chicago. They just okayed IDs for illegals. In fact, the city council voted 44-4.
Right.
44-4. So now they're making illegals. They're going to give them ID cards. They say, come out of the shadows, be a part of the system. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. We won't let President Trump touch you.
Charles, I tell you, to me, this is government-sanctioned treason, total betrayal of the laws, a subversion of the laws. The city of Chicago, which is billions of dollars in debt, they want to take millions of dollars and provide these IDs to folks, and they tried to throw in homeless folks into that bunch, too, just so they could say, oh, this isn't totally about undocumented. No, it totally is. You got 450,000 illegal immigrants in the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois receives $120 million in grant funding from the federal government. I think this is the appropriate time for the Attorney General to look at ways in which he can literally convict those in elected offices that are totally betraying the laws.
Well, by the way, speaking of the criminal aspect of this and the violence that Gina brought up, Attorney General Sessions just wrapping up, and again, one of his main focuses has been on MS-13. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
The Secretary and I have both spoken extensively about the dangers imposed by transnational gangs like MS-13, whose motto is murder, rape, and control. That encapsulates why they must be eradicated.
Sheriff, your thoughts?
Look, both of your guests have hit the mark. Look, there's criminal enterprises that are established and are continuing to grow in our country because of these permissive sanctuary cities and these mayors and elected officials who are not following the law. And look, MS-13 is the most vicious gang in the country. We know they've come in and they're settled throughout the United States, and we have to deal with these criminals in a way that enforces the law. So as far as I'm concerned, what we need to do is we need to make sure that these mayors and elected officials are prosecuted if they're going to violate the law. They're putting all of our people in our communities at risk,
Right.
as well as tying the hands of law enforcement.
It's really a shame that they would allow this to fester and grow to this point where it is in many of the cities across this country,
Yeah.
a true crisis at this very moment. Thank you all very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.